But yeah, man. Listen.
Shit, I'm gassed with this, you know.
Yeah.
I'm gassed.
Fuck me.
I was gonna say it's
been a
been like
minute,
5
1
years.
year.
I ain't seen man for like 5 years.
Nah, don't say that, bro. Don't say that, bro. Don't say that, bro.
I ain't seen a man for 5 years.
That's
You get
mad.
me? Last time I seen him, man, was it like 5 years ago? Innit? Like roughly.
Damn, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Nah, I'm just joking. Yeah, these men are my family still. It's so interesting because I think Bawo and Kev done you lot were the 31st episode. Which is that's ages ago. When we look at like how many, we're about to hit 100, I think. This is 98.
Jeez.
And
Yo,
Mills,
Big up
you
you
were
lot.
a
Big up
milestone.
you
That's
lot,
a
man.
milestone.
yeah.
That's
And
a
Mills,
milestone.
you were 43.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
43.
was a blessing to be on that, man. Thank you for having me, bro.
And it's so fascinating with the previous guest we had on. I briefly mentioned, saying I wonder what the 1000th episode looks like. You know, the ones there. I'm not saying that Joe Rogan's are like thing that we look up to, but he's like when he started, it's like no one cared about his first and second and this and whatever. So
Nah, it's 1,000 deep, innit?
yeah, so 1000 is gonna be interesting, man. We met with like a lot of interesting people, a lot of cool people. Obviously our audience has grown on audio platforms, the visual. So you know what I'm saying. So, but just on that note, for the new listeners, if they haven't like heard the 31st one or the 43rd, and obviously everyone's been in different spaces by this point, do you lot want to introduce yourselves?
It's Kev, literally student of life. Now I can say marketeer for almost 2 years. And yeah, just always learning and just got like a lot of knowledge on just like corporate situations, marketing and just content creation as well. So, yeah.
Love that.
Milambo, I'm a lawyer. I work in-house for a property company that either builds or provides student accommodation for students. It's one of the biggest student accommodation providers in the UK.
Sick.
Mad. But that's my family right there, you know.
Yeah.
Those two people, yeah?
Go on.
Yeah, gotta let the family introduce themselves, man. Big respect for them, man. My name's Xavier Bawo Aida. My full Nigerian name is Onetirisha Bawo Aita. That means the person who stands with God. God will never fail him. From Nigeria originally, 25 years old. I'm in the industry of sales and marketing. And yeah, man, I'm all about just life experiences, ascending to higher levels and discovering new things about myself and cultivating meaningful relationships with people on another level.
Do you know what? I just realised I got some lit friends, you know. I've got some really lit friends. But man, what's been going on anyways? What's been happening?
I'll probably say a lot of restructuring. You know, I feel like as friends, you know, we've gone through phases of growth where, for example, we've had moments of just like intensive work, focus, building, and then moments of like in summer, you know, partying, having a great time. And then now I feel like the whole gang is in a moment of like, okay, we need to restructure certain habits that we've either had or had, just in a positive way. And I really feel like the gang is, when I say gang, I mean the people, the friends. The people, the friends.
What's that?
I got to find that.
Wait, let me open the
We're not trying to
dictionary.
get cancelled. We're not trying to get cancelled.
Yeah,
innit?
you know what I mean, right?
Nah, I don't care. I'll say gang. Like, but what's a gang? Gang is a group of people,
LinkedIn
right?
safe, yeah.
But like just to summarize, like everyone's like in a phase of like restructuring in a positive way, and that's like inspirational and important, right? Because everybody's like in this, everybody has a growth mindset. That's why we're all friends. Everyone's massively successful in their own way. That's why we're all friends. Sometimes we have low moments, sometimes we have high moments, but now we're in a phase of restructuring and like, okay, what positive habits do we all wanna build and grow?
Yeah.
What do you say? What's the importance of restructuring and those kind of things, just in any phase of life you're in?
Importance of restructuring is self-reflection, identifying areas where you are either failing or not doing your best at, and then making the positive steps to do that or fix that. And I'm so blessed to have friends that, one, check my behavior, and two, hold me accountable, and three, I can speak openly about things that I'm failing on as a person. You feel me?
I think that last one's key, you know, as well, yeah? Just having that openness and trust to be able to have those conversations, because I think a lot of people can go into rooms where they feel like they can't have those conversations without being judged by
It's
other
about
people.
having genuine people in your life that you can say whatever you want and you can talk about certain things without, like we said, without the judgment. But you know what else is crazy? It's like I also know that, like when we're together, like that's also a problem. No, not in a bad way. But like this is crazy energy. Like when we get together, and I love that. I think that's a beautiful thing. It's a powerful thing. But yeah, what about you, Kev?
I think for me, it's like, well, this period of the year is just like a really reflective time. So like, you know, what 92% complete. So it's just I just get to this point of the year and I'm always comparing myself to last year. So it's like, I think you have to be really honest with yourself. I think a lot of people, it's an uncomfortable process, but I think it's essential to be honest with yourself in order to actually see how far you can push yourself in terms of progression. So
are you saying that this is the time of the year where you start reflecting on who you want to be next year?
100%, because it has to start now.
Not on the 31st.
Yeah, not on the 31st.
Not on the 30th. Certain
the
people
process
like to do that then.
Yeah, the process
I
has
like
to
the way
start
it
now.
said it's 92% complete. Like, I've never heard anyone say
That's
that.
hard. That's hard.
That's hard.
That's hard. That's
GTA loading screen. GTA loading screen.
They made
innit?
the year sound like this, like sick.
But it's
like,
true though. It's
yeah.
like we it's true because it's like, you know, when we think about it, 2023 for me has gone very quickly.
It
Like,
was fast.
the start of the year was unreal. Like, you know, really, really high energy. I think I started the year really, really high energy, and then, I just feel like it's been a testing year, but definitely a big year for progression.
By the way, was 2023 the year we had, like, out of lockdown, like everything is back to normal?
Yeah, properly. I think officially properly. For
I
the
don't
first time.
think,
I felt like lockdown was a blur. Who else felt like that?
bro. Listen, ever since lockdown, things that happened maybe like 3-4 years. I don't know if it's 2 years ago,
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Listen,
Like, because I think during that time I lost the concept of time. Like, there was no like Monday, Friday, Saturday. So that period just messed up my whole concept of time.
Agreed. I agree with that.
It's
completely,
kind of wild.
Facts.
Do you know, on just the thing on the normal, and I'm not saying your perspective is wrong. Like, obviously, if that's his perspective, that's cool. But I think there is no such thing as going back to normal. Like, ever since COVID, and no one's like, when I say no one's gonna be normal, I'm not talking about like physically. but
There's
I'm
new
saying
normals.
mindset wise, there's so many new normals. That look at like,
Yeah.
look at Canary Wharf. All the banks are moving out. They're saying like, yo, most of the people working hybrid. Like, we don't need these big offices. anymore. And that's just one highlight. But mentally, I think people changed. Everyone's changed. Like, it's had such a huge impact. So I don't think there will ever be normal to what it was before. But it's just a new normal, innit? It's just a new standard, I guess.
Yeah, no, definitely. So it's a new normal, but it's like, it's an adjustment that I think everybody's had to make because, you know, a lot of people probably picked up new skills, new hobbies, tried new things. It was like an opportunity, like, where the world sort of stopped and there was a bit of silence. But I feel like that's sort of created a habit for me personally where it's like, I do that regularly now. Like, I literally just stop myself, try and like almost like analyze quite regularly rather than just be in this period. Because for me, it's always this period that like I normally reflect on how the year's gone and what I'm trying to improve on and actually trying to push myself for the next year. But I think that's become a process that's happening almost automatically now because of lockdown and things like that. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's super cool. Wow, what about you, my bro?
Point.
In terms of
Just how what's been going on since? Because obviously I talk to you on a regular, but since like obviously done the 31st episode, it's been a while. Like, how long has it been?
literally, yeah.
Yeah,
When I
just-
went to the last episode, I checked over the last couple of days just to get a little refresher, seeing how
It was
we
around a
did.
similar time, innit?
Yeah.
It was
Similar time
literally,
of
it
the
says
year.
1 year ago on the YouTube.
That is
yeah,
wild.
So it's crazy.
And look at it. It's
Yeah.
not even. It's almost like, but it's not a coincidence. I don't know, but either way,
Yeah, I think a lot. I mean, well, just compared to everyone else, like Milambo said, restructuring. Kev said solitude, reflection during the year. I know me and Kev, we exchange our solitude questions that we do, like with the annual end of the year questions. Yeah, like 40 questions where we send to each other just to help
that is so sick.
get our minds reprogrammed for the following year. Because I always this period of my life since last year has just been. It's all been about failing forward, man. Failing fast.
Fell forward. Shout out to Fell Forward.
I'm big on, like, I have a sales background, so you don't know how many times I get told no, and it's like how many times it gives me more confidence because when it brings you closer to that yes, I've probably had people 10,000 no's in the last year. I've had 15,000 different conversations with people, man. And it's just crazy, man. When you get exposed to working in an industry such as sales, you get exposed to so many different personalities. Whether it's like people from Romania, people from Poland, people from Lithuania, people who... London is such a multicultural city, just like New York, that you get exposed to so many different cultures as well. That gives you a sense of empathy and understanding for other people's cultures. And there's a quote that says, like, if you're knowing others, you know yourself. And by knowing yourself, you also know others. So it's a bit of it's a duality. It's like a two sides of the same coin. Like the more like, I believe that relationships, so much of relationships are mirrors to the relationship you have with yourself. Like people will treat you how you treat yourself. And the kind of relationship that I have with you is a reflection of how I see myself.
That's beautiful, man.
And the same things with whether... I feel like people only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. I think that's one of my things that I've lived by, because you can be speaking and having a conversation with someone on a night out in a pub and they'll be like, oh, you man are being deep, you man are being deep. But then you could have that same conversation with someone else and you lot are connecting on a vibration and wavelength that's just like intuitive.
Yeah. I always find it fascinating. Like when I used to date, I don't date anymore. I'm just...
That's cat.
No.
Streets. You're out to the streets.
No. Honestly, who am I saying that? I'm celibate, man, but so just on
if we get the group chat receipts out right now, it's a long day.
I've just learned what incel means the other day. Do you know what incel means? Incel. You know when people call certain man, the guys are incel. Yeah. No. It means involuntary celibate. So that means they can't like get no woman. So they're involuntary. Okay. That's what incel means. I didn't even know that until the other day.
NPC.
NPC.
He's a non-playable character, isn't it?
But it's so interesting. Like, I always wondered, like, so when I was dating, I always wondered, like, why certain women would, like, be able to, you know what it is? Like, some of them would be scared of deep conversations. That's what I learned. And it's not just women. I think it goes for humanity in general. Yeah. You know when it says sometimes you're having deep combos and some people are like, oh, no, why the deep conversation? Why this, why that? It's because they're not ready for that. Or they're not, you know what I'm saying? But that's the conversation that people need to be having in life and talking about, because that's where all the learning comes from.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Because we can talk about, what theatre did you go to and what did you watch and whatever, but really and truly, what values that serving, what purpose is that serving? You know what I'm saying? I've got so many questions for you, but just quickly on the New Year's thing, how do you lot perceive New Year's? Like, what's your perception of New Year's? Because some people celebrate, some people don't. Some people got some really interesting outlook, some people don't. Like, do you lot see it as a like a thing to celebrate, or you don't really too fussed about
question,
it?
You know,
because you lot said you lot send each other questions. I found that really interesting. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
The 40 questions thing.
Kev, you want to start?
Yeah. In terms of celebrating New Year's, yeah.
Yeah, like what's your perception of New Year's in first place?
Period of reflection, family. I just think about any time I'm going to New Year, it's about family, man. Who am I really surrounding myself with? As corny, as cringe as you may, as everyone says, you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
It's facts though, but it is facts though. It's like you feel that energy get drained like a battery, man. Like we all have social batteries if you're with the wrong crowd, man. And we've all been periods of life where we've surrounded ourselves with the wrong people. And how's it affected our mental? How's it affected the way we feel about ourselves? Or just generally wanting to do things and being motivated to do things? Because a lot of, like, for example, I think one of the reasons why we're such good as a friend circle, like Milambo, Kev, Leo. We can scroll on the Aladdin, we can scroll on the TL every day and someone's up to something new. And that's you see that as moments of inspiration. Yeah. But if you got a bad circle, you see that as moments of envy. You're like, them man on something different now. Or you're seeing people that just, there's nothing that's inspiring you to take it to the next level, man. So not to go off on a tangent, when it comes to New Year's, I see it as a moment of just, let me analyze the people I'm with, let me analyze what we've achieved this year, let me analyze what we can do better, let me analyze where are my flaws, what are my insecurities, what are moments how can I become a more integrated human being? How can I become a better brother, son, colleague, friend, little things like that. How can I put myself in moments of that will lead to more learning? How can I fail more and discover more about myself? How can I cultivate meaningful relationships with new people? How can I not take for granted the previous relationships that I've had in my life as well? Little things like that. And I think it's important with New Year's is that it's not something you wait till the 31st to do. And then you wake up hangover and they're like, new you, new year, new me type thing. But you're thinking as December, from November to December, as we're going into the new year, so that, because if you're not preparing, you're preparing to fail. So those little things like that, man. So yeah, that's how I see New Year's on my side.
That's interesting.
Like, if you're not doing one, then you're doing the other by default. It's interesting.
Yeah. I think my my outlook of New Year's is twofold. The first is it's an opportunity to either organize or celebrate an event via stepwise and do some business, meet interesting people and bring them together in a space. Then the second is it's an ordinary day. Why? Because I'm not waiting a year to then have a chance to do points of self-reflection.
Yeah, of course.
Right? That's missed opportunities. That's lost time. Right? I'm self-reflecting all the time. Why? Because I've got people around me that are keeping me accountable, but also like, hey, you know what? I didn't like what you did that time. I'm like, you know what? Thank you. Let me take that on board. Let me action that, and let me make the positive change that is necessary, but also important. And that's my outlook on New Year's. If many times it's, you know what? There's a chance to bring everyone together, celebrate the year that we had, and then look forward to the more success and the more impact we're going to make in the following year.
I like that.
Yeah.
Retweet. Co-sign.
Yeah, co-sign, definitely co-sign that. Like similar to Mills, I would definitely say I now see it as it's another normal day. And I think the reason I see that in that way is because, you know, growing up or like at uni, for example, whatnot, and just that big sort of like, I'd say like just the big hype around New Year's Day, the countdown, everything, and then just waking up hungover the next day and whatnot. I think I've sort of broken away from that as much, and just sort of use it as a period to actually just be hypercritical of myself. So in terms of like really actually just being harsh, well, not harsh, but like really being like almost overanalyzing everything. So taking the time to overanalyze and telling myself, okay, what am I actually gonna do? What are the steps that I'm gonna put in place? What are the sort of ideas that I'm thinking that was maybe too big in my head the previous year? Because obviously, if I'm not scared of it, it's not big enough. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, just like for me, that's what New Year's represents now. To be honest, yeah.
No, that's lit, man.
That's hard.
So you know, I started seeing it as a drag race. You know, like the New Year's thing. It's like, you know, in a drag race, like if you're racing and like usually people just go from start to finish.
Yeah.
They come back to the start line and they go again, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like I feel like every single year is a chance to like maybe have better clutch control. You know what I'm saying? Maybe change the tires a little bit, see if I can go faster.
Yeah.
Crash
In some
Bandicoot,
scenarios, maybe every 2 years, 3 years, maybe change the car. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe maybe the car's not good enough. You know what I'm saying? So I started seeing it. I think in the past, I never used to give a shit about New Year's. I'll be honest with you. I used to just think like, oh, it's just another day and this and that. But I don't know. I think something like I don't know, you know, people always say this when people start getting older, they start looking at things in a different way. But sometimes I realize in life, it's just a lot of the times it's not about the thing. It's about the perspective. And sometimes there's a lack of perspective. And it's an interesting thing. It's like, how can someone have a lack of perspective? Like, is that even possible? Because perspective is a perspective.
Yeah.
Can you have more perspective? Can you have less perspective?
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing to explore. You mentioned a quote as well about that. I'll say in my own words on how I got it, but it was around like, the more I know about other people, the more I learn about others, the more I learn about myself. The more I learn about myself, the more I learn about others. But just speaking of quotes, recently at work I had this moment, someone asked like, what is your favourite quote? And I found it really interesting. Do you like have like a go-to quote or something that comes up to your mind? Something that's a bit got like a more profound effect than it's just a quote.
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah.
The masters failed more times than the beginners even tried. Stephen McCraney. I think that's a big one just for people in their 20s, like me and Kev, more seasoned veterans like you yourself, and Leah,
Yes,
how many, like, I think so much of confidence is your ability to get comfortable with failure, man. Bro, like if you fucked up, man, time and time again, it leads just to a certain level of competence, like, and being able to understand things and having a swagger about yourself, carrying yourself with some skin in the game. It comes from, you can't fake that shit. It comes from those fuck ups, man. Like, I think that's the one thing I love about sales and those different things, just as an industry, man. You become face to face with rejection. If you don't have, you can have thin skin and they come out with thick skin. I've seen it time and time again from people in the industry. I've got one of my colleagues, I used to know him as one of the most introverted, shy guys that I'd ever met in my life. Yeah. But he did 6 months of sales.
That's it, man, changed.
Bro, this guy changed, bro. His mumsy was probably looking at him like, rah, who's this, you know?
He's probably still introverted, the mumsy though. Like, you know, goes home, hi mum, you're right. You know what I'm saying? But when he's out, it's like, yo!
Yeah, different level, but like, just to go, not to go off on a tangent or anything, but yeah, the masters failed more times than the beginners even tried. The beginner doesn't want to hop in the arena, man. They're too scared of judgment. They're too scared of embarrassment, man. But it's okay to, like, your first anything's gonna suck, man. Your first presentation, your first podcast, your first workout, anything, bro, like that you do, you're the first one's gonna suck, man. And it's okay to fall over, man. When you were a kid, how many times did you fall over learning how to walk, man? Little things like that. Or bicycle. Bro, I bust my knee up bad times doing bicycle as a kid, man. Little things like that. And that's the beauty of life. And I think it gets drummed out of us from other things, external factors. Schools teach us to be graded on tests, and they don't measure levels of creativity and failing. So when you go into the real world and you're told no all these times, or you're getting participation trophies in school for sports and things such as that, you're told that everyone's a winner, but that's not how life is, man. You gotta earn things, man. You gotta fuck up, bro. You gotta understand that at the end of the day, like, you can give everything, you can give 1,000% effort and still come up short, man. But it's about that ruthless competence that comes from that experience, man, and those different things. So I think, just failing forward, man, has been such a big philosophy for man, because what's life without failing and developing and learning new experiences, man? Scars make stories, man.
100%. It's a good thing to take into the next year. I think anyone that's listening should take that forward. I think it's an important part of just getting to where we want to get to. But yeah, the participation trophy is an interesting one. It's like, someone will come 9th in school, like running thing, and be like, yeah, you're first to be 9th, you know. Like, don't worry, you're good.
That's how we're taught, though.
Yeah, you're the first person to be 9th. You're good.
It sets kids up for failure, though.
Yeah.
Because they get in the real world and they get told no 3 times, and they're ready like, nah, this ain't for me, though. Yeah. This ain't for me. Yeah. Starting a new job, or nah, this ain't for me. It's been one weekend, someone told me no, innit? Yeah. It's like, bro, how are you going to ever get to know yourself if you ain't ever put yourself in situations that, like, fear? But people who are fearless are people that are not people without fear, bro. They're people who act regardless of their fear, man. They're people like what Kev said earlier in the conversations. If it doesn't scare you, and you don't even pick up the pen and put down your to-do list, man. Like, you're wasting your time, man. It's like, it has to bring you that sense of fear in a healthy way, in a healthy risk way. I'm not saying anyone to go and do something that's crazy, man. But yeah, do things that put you out of your comfort zone. I know Milambo is one person who's done skydiving before and things such as that. He told me, you can add on that how much of a crazy experience it is.
Madman.
Yeah.
The best thing I've ever done. Honestly.
What did you learn about yourself just from there?
That there's nothing I can't do if I'm just not afraid to take the first step.
The first step, man.
The first step. Yeah.
There's a quote that is related to that as well. It's fear's a mile wide but an inch deep. Like a puddle, man. It seems like an ocean, but the moment you take your step in, it's just a puddle, man. So it's like, it's always the anticipation before. It could be little things like whether to go up to that girl, or whether to pitch that company that you've been wanting to pitch, but you're not sure because you're seeing 60 candidates on the list already applying, or to launch that YouTube show or whatever. You're always thinking about the anticipation and before the moment, but once you actually do it, you realize that I should have started sooner.
It's calm.
But
It was
just on
always
that-
calm. Yeah, it was always calm. Yeah.
But just on that, no one thinks about the development. I think just when you think about like even like, you know, if there is like 60 candidates applying for something, so oh my God, all my days like competitions is so huge. Like obviously, but more time if I applied for it and never didn't get it, there's been development in the process. Like there's been something I've learned about myself or something I put together, or because that is the process that's got the gold in it. It's not the outcome, and obviously the outcome is important too. But we know that if you go through the process enough times, the outcome is going to come with it anyways. Because we'll become so good at going through the process and so good at learning and developing ourselves that we become we level up as an individual. So we're more likely we'll get it anyways.
Yeah.
It's like the thing is like if someone's like never done their job interview, they'll go to the first one, second one, will suck. By the time they're 100, they can just go to apply for anything and just blag it or whatever, like, you know what I'm saying? Because they'll know the pattern, and also there's patterns in life. No one talks about the patterns anyway.
Good point.
Because every interview will have a pattern of particular questions, what the standard is. We all know, we all work in places, we all know there's a standard. If you're interviewing people, they'll be like, yeah, this is the standard that we need to interview people by, or this is how we need to do it. But when you clock the pattern, then you can start working yourself through the pattern anyways.
Facts.
Do you like have any quotes that you want to share?
Yeah, I do. You know, my favorite quote is attributed to either a Roman general or a Roman philosopher, and it just simply says, "I'll either find a way or make one." You know, and it's quite similar to what Xavier was talking about in terms of failure. And in life, we are constantly faced with either obstacles or roadblocks, right? And when they happen, what then do? You either find a way or you either have to make a way. And I love that quote because it just simply says that at the end of the day, you still have to move forward or break through. And I love that quote because that's what I aspire to be. That's what I aspire to do and live by.
Like in shot out a cannon, you have no way out, like but through.
It's
Hannibal
true,
said that.
yeah.
Hannibal said that quote, I believe. Yeah,
straight
Mad,
through,
good,
man.
great quote. I love that quote as well.
Yeah.
I think one for me that's been really big this year, especially, is consistency is more important than perfection. So, like, it's actually one.
That's clean. That's
Kev, you have to put your mute for the rest of the show, man. For the rest of the, because you know what I mean, bro. There's too many facts, bro. Like,
But do you know what it is?
No, I don't mean it. So when I say you might have to put your mute, I don't mean it negatively. I mean just broski spitting so many facts that it just
Take his mic away.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming, bro. You get me? It's my left chest is hurting, bro.
It's the skin fade, bruv. It's the skin fade. Like,
But
save
I'll
some
be
gal
honest.
for the rest of us.
I'll be
Yeah.
honest. It's because of having like people like you two as friends, that's one of my like sort of like mantras I've been living by this year. Because like, you know, balancing, let's say work, social, you know, your personal journey with the gym or whatever, seeing you two so on it with boxing and whatnot, that really properly pushed me like inspiration wise to get back into football. So holding myself accountable, turning up to training,
Okay.
you know, extra time in the gym, started, you know, ways of, you know, doing, like, so cardio is not my thing. I hate doing cardio, but I found ways of actually doing it or incorporating like a fun way of doing it. So I've started to do bike rides now, like,
Still getting the same results.
yeah,
right?
still ultimately getting the same results, but just manufacturing a way that's sort of tailored to me that I know I'm going to be more accountable by doing cycling because I know I enjoy it. Do you get what I mean? Rather than going for a jog or whatever.
Yeah.
So just things like that, like obviously, especially you two, man, seeing you two, like, you know, we'll step out, whatnot, and then on the Sunday, you two are up for boxing in the morning.
It's,
Like,
it's the accountability factor of that, man. Yeah.
So yeah, just literally consistency, like, you know, that's 100% more important than perfection because, you know, I was a bit hesitant of getting back into football, you know, being a few years not being in the game and whatnot. But I've loved it. I've loved it. And yeah, it's been 100% rewarding and more rewarding than what I'd expected it to be. So yeah, definitely just being consistent and just showing up when you don't feel like it.
Yeah. And you found that it gives you structure.
100%.
Yeah.
Like I feel like other things fall into place a lot easier, you know? Like and it just sets like it sets the tone for like the rest of your day. Like when I'm going gym early or whether it's evening or whatnot, it just sets me up with like I have a bigger spring in my step, and I feel like I'm moving with more energy and whatnot. So that ultimately will help me fulfill my purpose in other areas as well. So yeah,
I can agree with Kev about being inspired, but definitely you two, man, because I'd never. But it's like it's all divine reflection and mutual respect, because that's why what I mentioned earlier about the TL being inspired by people and things such as that. We've had conversations at my yard about Guy Fitness Camp as well, man. Myself,
Guy.
Shout out to myself.
Ruth.
Yeah.
Shout out to I'm a piano wizard, man, dancer, like literally, and also, bruv, one of the greatest friends I've ever had in my life.
He's
bro.
an amazing,
honestly,
shout out to Guy
human
myself.
being, man.
Yeah.
Real human being, and like him. Milambo and Leo, they're definitely people that inspired me. I'd never done boxing before in my life, and I picked it up a year ago, and it was something that I learned a lot just about myself doing it. And it's like I love Milambo's and Leo's, especially their dedication for it, especially alongside with Guy. It's that accountability factor that these men can go on a night out, bro. But if they promise someone that they were going to a little sparring session on a Sunday, or that they said they were going to gym, they are there, bro. Because your word is law, man. Your word is so important. It's something that builds your confidence with it yourself when you have that ability to keep promises to yourself and also to other people. And that's something that's definitely they inspired with me. And yeah, man, it's just so dope to be able to have friends who are on journeys, who are doing things that, whether it's like for passions, for hobbies, but they know it's that strive for greatness in all things, man. Yeah. Man.
Facts.
Nice. It's people always find each other based on the community and values. So yeah, I'm just happy we all met at some point. I remember I was meeting you for the first time. I was like, who's this super social guy? He's so lit. And now we're here, man. It's a beautiful thing, man.
It's true. You find your tribe, fam.
You
always find your
Your
tribe.
vibe attracts your tribe, man.
We have a tribe, and I think what's beautiful as well, not to like. It's not about going out. We don't, just for a disclaimer, we don't actually party that often anyways, to be fair. But when we do, like, I always notice that when we're in a crowd or whatever, that everyone's always drawn to us because the energy's just different.
You're like magnets.
It's just, and it's, I'm not just
piano
saying
and
this.
Sean need to pay us stocks and shares,
We
need equity in that.
Equity in that, yeah. But I swear, every time we go to an event, it's like we're the life of that room, you know?
We bring the
And
life.
do you know what's interesting? I
Yeah.
think individually we really have
crazy.
like this really like vibrant energy within ourselves. But I think when we get together, we feed off each other's energies. You know, you spoke about seeing, people are training and stuff. I know you post content on Instagram when you're training, so it's vice versa. I see you remind me of that inspiration, and you know what I'm trying to say. So I'll kind of go like, not in a competitive vibe. I'll go like, oh shit, like Bow's putting in work. It's reminding me, yo, I need to be putting in work as well.
Inspire.
So I'm, it's vice versa. It's like what what we give and what we get back is universal. So it's not like. Yeah. It's just one thing. I was gonna say I can ask you a lot more questions and whatnot, but what do you lot want to talk about? Do you lot want to just bring something and just have a topic? Because I think by this point we're all family and everything else. We don't need to like structure in a certain way. So is there anything you just want to throw out there? Let's talk about dating. Hinge, overrated, underrated?
You know, I think Hinge is underrated, fam.
Underrated, yeah. Why?
Because I feel like Hinge is underrated in the sense that it will allow you to meet a pool of people that you wouldn't otherwise meet. Do you know what I mean? Because I think people are creatures of habit. Therefore, you will go out into certain areas, into certain places, into certain bars. As a result of that, you will only meet people that just go into those spaces. Whereas Hinge opens up a wider pool of people that are like very interesting, click with you, but just have different interests.
That's facts.
That don't necessarily align with your interests. But doesn't mean that you don't attract. It just means that you would actually attract if you met in the right places and circumstances. Yeah. But if you didn't, you wouldn't even know they exist. So Hinge, I think Hinge bridges that gap in relation to
good
that.
articulation.
That was I never even saw it like that. That's sick.
That's that's mad interesting, you know. Yeah. A lot of people don't have that perspective when it comes to dating apps. So definitely new perspective that I haven't heard before. So dope, bringing that forward. We also love the authentic, like meeting people, and of course, in the flesh normally. You know, it's just something about meeting someone spontaneous and speaking to them, getting their number, moving forward from them. That's just so different from a dating app where you're like kind of like there's a sense of prejudging sometimes, and there's a sense of like, oh, what's this person gonna be like, or an anticipation, that kind of thing. It's like there's more. I feel like there's so much more like mystery when you're meeting people organically, because they're like, okay, they're like a traveling to another country, it's like a whole different world. I'm trying to learn about them versus someone putting like line for line, bio for bio, what their interests are, what their hobbies are, what they do. Kind of like to discover that myself.
Yeah. Do people even like ever read the bios on Hinge? Like, just
who even knows? I've seen some crazy ones, you know, in the past.
yeah. I never looked at the bio. Like, usually, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, people just look at the pictures, right? Just look at the pictures and see if they like them physically. Because I guess, like, reading the bio, you'll never get the full
picture.
Yeah, the full understanding of who the person is until you meet them. And I think it's interesting because I understand there's maybe a lot of like men on dating apps that are a bit like maybe creepy or whatever.
Of course.
But for me, whenever like if I'm ever on a dating app, like, you know, that time ago and whatnot, like I would have just always just been like, I tried to push for a date as soon as possible.
Oh, of course.
Because but sometimes women are
become a
really
pen pal.
cautious. But it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one.
Yeah. Now, I want to hear Kev's perspective before I put a question forward, which I think is very important.
Well, on dating apps in general.
Yeah, dating apps. Yeah.
I do think they're underrated for sure. But I think I agree a lot with what you said. Like, I think it's a tool. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like. It shouldn't be the foundation. To be honest, I think it's a tool to, as you said, to allow you to sort of connect with people that maybe not necessarily exposed to your world at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm always like, if I'm on there, I'm definitely gonna be trying to push for that physical interaction, because you're able to pick up on so much more, like mannerisms, body language, just non-verbal communication, just all of that type of thing. Like that's the real. Like that's when you're gonna get that real sort of judgment on that person, and you're gonna be able to pick up on their energy and everything properly. So yeah, you want to use it as a tool, but that not be the be all and end all. Like because I think, you know what I mean, like we're not thankfully we're not living through lockdown anymore, so this whole digital thing, like I prefer that whole physical interaction and just linking up, because, you know, obviously we can all sit on FaceTime and chat to each other and stuff like that, but it's different when we link up, it's different when we connect, it's different when we come together. So yeah, I think that's sort of my perception.
There's also elements of energy. You don't get to experience the person's energy through like a phone and
what he said about TOV and body language is so key for like me as well. I think so much, like I think they read like words is 5%, body language 55%, remember that. And when it comes to and then TOV, tone of voice 23%, something like that. Hopefully those percentages added up. Forgive me if they didn't, but something like along those lines. Before they come in, YouTube comment me, look at this guy's numbers, don't match up, But yeah, that element of tone of voice and body language is so important. Like, especially I come from the sales world where you can't sell something unless based on words. So much of it is body language.
Buy the ting, bruv.
Yes.
Yo, buy it today.
You never really want to be like that.
Buy it today.
And so much of it is tone of voice. Like, you can do different things with your tone of voice to be able to create certain feelings. Like, for example, if I speak really slow, you tend to listen to me more. And I also create empathy, and the words land a bit more.
Nice, man.
If I'm talking about a really dramatic story, I can speak about it really fast and create excitement. But it can also create nervousness as well. Being able to play with your tone of voice can do different things. Same thing as body language. These are things that complement your speaking skills, but also not the end all be all.
I guarantee there's some mandem that went on Hinge and sent a voice note when they match with someone. Yo, let's go on a date today.
Yeah, that energy is too much. That energy is nothing like that.
On that note, is for example, like obviously you're going through your celibate period, but you are the date. You are the dating guru. So how should people act? How should people present themselves on Hinge or other dating apps, and then how should they act?
Do you know what they present themselves? It depends on what pool of pictures they have. I think the first one is like just put on like decent, normal pictures of who you are. Like, don't put some serial killer looking ones.
Catfish,
And like, I know this one guy. He had some pictures on his Hinge. Like, when he showed me, I was like, "Yo, bro, what you doing, bro? Like, looking like a
Like
serial
what?
killer, bro. Like, it's a myth. It's a myth. I'll tell you off camera. Like,
Okay, fair.
actually, I won't even tell you. That's a private thing. I can't actually.
Data, shout out to data protection.
Yeah.
Man said GDPR. What?
But obviously, that's my brother.
2018
No, that's my
law.
brother. I love him. But when I saw it, I was like, bro, that's not. It can't run like that.
Yeah.
gotta
But
let
then
them know,
the
innit?
other thing as well, yeah, I won't lie to you. I think it's just about being yourself, really. I don't know. Like, it's just I'm always just myself, innit? So I don't really pop in with like, hey, how you doing, and all of that stuff. And from what I understood, like, women are tired of that. They don't want to hear like, hey, how's your day been? They get like millions of that anyways. So I don't know. I say something stupid.
Man gets that OMG, you're so annoying.
Hi, stranger.
Hi, stranger. You know, it's a rap after that.
Yeah,
442, Jose
Oh
Mourinho.
my God, you're so annoying. Or like,
I am the special one.
Yeah.
Kante coverage, innit?
Yeah, but no, like, personally, on a serious note, like, I'm not really, like, when I was younger, I wasn't really like out there like that. I think it's only in the last like 3-4 years. But like, I always knew, like, no, I don't call it the game, but I kind of knew the game and understood how it worked and whatever. So it's just, but sometimes
What is the game? What is the game?
The game is sometimes we win, sometimes we lose, man.
Home days, away games, you get me, innit?
Yeah. I think just
So
understanding.
is the game a numbers game or something else?
Oh, it's definitely a numbers game, but I wouldn't call it a numbers game because it makes it gives it less meaning than what it is. What I'd call it is experience game.
Yeah, experience.
Because numbers equals experience, right? So like, it's like, I think if people are always
XP.
like questioning the first move, going back to like Bawo, like, spoke a lot about failure and everything else, and it's an important thing to just go, you know what, this might flop, but I have to take a chance. I have to take the risk. So it might be uncomfortable for people. So obviously for us, it might be like, we're at the point where like, yo, we can just go on dates.
Massive risky task.
Yeah, like we
you know?
can go on dates, we vibes, you know, whatever. But for people that might be like listening to this, and might be thinking, you know what, like, I've not really been out there. I'm just kind of whatever. This and just gonna have to take the risk.
Yeah.
Because what's gonna happen? Not just take the risk, but also then build a resilience, because that risk can't influence the rest of your experience. You can't go on one date and go, you know what, it's flopped, I'm not going to do this again. You have to do it again. And it's like sales, isn't it? Again and again and again and
It is
again.
like sales. Yeah. You're selling yourself, right? You're selling yourself to
That is
somebody
sales,
else.
though. That is, you're selling yourself and everything.
And even
Selling
just to
your story.
touch on that, in terms of experience, I think it's you learn about yourself. So you learn like your stress capacity. You learn like your boundaries that you want to set for the next relationship with a woman. You learn your red flags. You learn a bit more of your preference. You learn, like, these are all things that you have to get the experience to actually learn first. You get what I mean? So you don't just automatically have that knowledge. So obviously we talk about the game, but you have to be in it a little bit to understand and take some experiences and then come out and then obviously work on yourself and get back in. So
We talked about a lot the last couple of weeks about importance of boundaries, man.
Yeah.
Especially about whether not being scared to drop people, not being scared to. That's such a big one.
Let's touch on that. I've got something very specific
Big
to
one.
that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
take it a bit further than just boundaries,
Yeah.
but that's what builds boundaries. But give me a suggestion, just on a dating thing. Yeah, here's a question: if you lot were taking let's say like you lot are playing for like what's like a big team in the States in basketball.
LA Lakers.
Let's say you're playing for LA Lakers, yeah.
Wow, man said I'm an NBA player, you know.
Yeah, let's say you're playing for. No, imagine tomorrow. No, imagine you never played basketball in your life, yeah. Imagine you never played basketball in your life. Tomorrow they fly you out, yeah, and you're playing for LA Lakers as the point guard, and they're saying, yo, like, you're gonna have to take this 3-pointer, yeah. Would you feel confident that you're gonna make it? Like, how would you feel having to take a 3-pointer, a deciding 3-pointer? You never played basketball
What,
in
in
your
the
life.
Lakers game?
Yeah,
Never play basketball in my
never played
life.
basketball in your life.
Straight vibes, bro.
I'll be honest with you. I don't care what anyone says. You'll be shitting yourself.
Yeah, of course.
You'll
Yeah,
be shitting
of
yourself.
course, yeah.
But now, imagine this.
It's the
What
reps.
if
It's
you've
all about
been
reps.
taking a 3-pointers for 10 years?
Like Steph Curry.
Yeah. How do you feel? You feel confident. So the
course,
thing
man.
with dating is
Normal.
like, and this is what
It's
So
normal.
what people don't understand, they might go on the first date, they might feel better nervous. They might say the wrong thing, whatever.
Yeah.
They go on another date, then another date, then another date. The more dates they go on,
Yeah.
they build a confidence. then suddenly they're going on a date
Ooh,
because
I
they're
got something for you.
confident.
I got
It's
something
the
for
same
you.
thing as
We
the
all
second
remember
and
our
free
first
pointers.
date and our first FaceTime and we fumbled.
Bro, I fumbled bare bags, bro. I fumbled
We all,
bare,
we
bro.
all
I
remember
flopped.
that one chick we
Like,
fumbled,
Leo,
yeah?
Bro, I've
long
been,
day.
so,
Yeah.
so just I've been in situations where I would live,
Yeah.
like
I got
live
something
oh,
mad.
I'm
Yeah.
coming, but I'd live oh no, I fumbled the bag, and I'm still
Yeah.
going for the rest of the date.
Ah,
'Cause
yeah.
like, let's
fumbled
say
one.
midway through, I might have said the wrong thing, and I know
You
it's
know the
done.
mood's
I know it's
changed,
done.
of
I know
course.
it's done, and I'm like, you know what? Next time I won't say that. Yeah, but
Putting a spliff,
yeah.
wrapped up,
Yo,
tucked in the Rizla.
so like to touch on your point where you're saying that dating equals XP, right? And to essentially build XP, you have to go on more dates. But as a man, I generally think dating is expensive, and it may not necessarily be sustainable, right? Because usually 9 out of 10 times you be expected to fork the bill, right? So my question is, how can we make dating more sustainable, but also can you go on fun dates that are not expensive?
Hear this, yeah. Hear this. This is so fascinating
big point.
because
That's a big point.
I'll go back to perspective. This is our reality. That's what believe and that's what's happening, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'll give an example. I got a brethren of mine. You know what he does? No dates, no nothing. He would just get a message from someone he just met, whatever. Obviously he's good looking, whatever. But it's not about him being good looking. It's also like he's got like a great personality, all of that stuff.
aura.
So what it is, they would just be like, yeah, come over to mine. And he doesn't spend no money on dates, like at all. Like it's kind of wild. It's kind of wild. when
But
I
what
think
if
of it.
you're not that? What's the alternative?
Then become
If
that.
you're not him, what's your alternative? If you're not
No,
him,
I'm
what's
on-
your-
I'm
No, but you
on-
can do fun things.
Nah, I
Remember,
get
like
that, I get
the
that.
bowling,
Because
the golf,
not
those
everyone
things,
is him. You feel me, fam? Yeah. So my question, so you know what I'm saying, fam, right? So my question is like, bro, like not everyone can get that pattern. So what's
But
the
I'm-
alternative?
Listen, but after I heard what he's on, I'm like, I'm trying to pattern that.
I'm
bro.
trying to pattern that. Hey,
I don't
get
listen.
you. I get you.
Nah, I'm trying to
No,
pattern
everyone
that.
is on that smoke. You
Yeah.
get me, my bro?
But do you know what?
Yeah.
I think I just want to go back to Bawo's point as well around he kind of briefly mentioned it, but around like being protective with our energy.
Yeah.
I think you lot are my brothers, so I'll share that. But I think now I'm very selective with like who I go on dates with, anyways. In first place, like, I don't want to just go on dates with just anyone. And furthermore, like not to waste money because it is expensive. You're right, especially if you're paying the first. If you're always paying first and whatnot.
First days.
And if you're going on a
That's
lot
the
of dates, even
expectation.
furthermore, even if you're going on a lot of dates, even worse. So,
Yeah.
best thing to do just book something cheap, like I don't know, like crazy golf, like just go there, just because obviously that's the thing. where you
Bowling,
just,
golf,
yeah, you
all
vibes
them
on it, and
things,
after
innit?
you go, you know what? Maybe I do want to spend more because I want to invest more time in that person. But if the vibes are dead,
Yeah.
then it's just like like goodbye, innit? Like it's just.
Yeah.
It's also physical activities to test where her
Yeah,
mind's at as well. Yeah.
The mind, you get to see the mindset on
Yeah.
losing because
Exactly,
we always
yeah.
lose in that. So
They always talk smoke as well. Say, I'm
Nah,
gonna
joking,
smoke you.
joking,
Nah.
but yeah.
A long day.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's vibes, man.
And you
That's
say you
vibes.
talk about boundaries.
Oh yeah, sorry, boundaries. Yeah, just going back to
Yeah.
boundaries. There's a concept I've learned recently, and it's a powerful concept because it's called unwritten rules. So unwritten rules, like I think till this day, even us as a friendship group, like we have some unwritten rules that we don't know about from each other.
Yeah.
And the way unwritten rules work is like, let's say my unwritten rule might be, let me just think of something. Like if you're not coming to something, you need to let me know. Yeah, that's my unwritten rule.
Yeah, let's say Barcelona.
But
for
usually the
example.
unwritten rule is something that you always do yourself. So for
Yeah.
example, if I'm not coming somewhere, I always let them know.
Yeah.
I always let someone know. So now when people don't meet the same rule that I have for myself towards others, I get frustrated. I go, nah, these people didn't even let me know about they're not coming. Whatever. That's just an example. Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes a bit deeper than that. It's like I don't know what's a boundary that you lot have that you allow people to break.
My
Disrespect.
boundary. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
So like, I think just being overly rude around like my parents and stuff. Like, do
But
get what I
because
mean?
you wouldn't do that, right?
I would never do that.
So that's the thing. So what's
Never.
really interesting about those things is those are usually built around things that you wouldn't do
Yeah.
or would do. You know what I'm saying? And they're unwritten rules. And the reason they're unwritten rules is because someone else's unwritten rules might be different to yours. So when they break them, they don't even know that they're breaking them.
Yeah.
Because they might have a different perspective on that thing. You know what I'm saying? So when they're breaking them, they're not aware of it. And sometimes if you don't communicate that with the person, they say, yo, this is like my boundary or unwritten rule,
Yeah.
they'll never know that they're crossing it. They'll never know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that because that sort of links into like the feminine and then masculine sort of balance, right? The reason I say that is because obviously you have to have the feminine sides like empathy, right?
Mm-hmm.
To have the understanding that they might not necessarily have that same sort of expectation, or they might not necessarily like think or perceive that to be rude, for example, yeah? But for me, it's a thing where there's only so much you can take. Like, for me, it's a strike system, isn't it? Like, if you've told someone about something and they don't take it as serious as you do, then it's now left on you to act accordingly. Like, and whether like you either choose to continue to be disrespected or you move right, they move left. And I think that's that's where I've sort of got to like in life with that. Like, like it's not like if you're not able to sort of meet the standards that I want for my life, then you can't be part of this life anymore. And it's as simple as that. Like you have to hold yourself to that regard. So like that's something I'm learning, like with conversations with Bawo and stuff like recently. That's something I'm still learning today.
But I think the only variance in what you're saying is like sometimes people won't know that unless you tell them.
So that's why it's important to communicate beforehand. Of course. Your boundaries, your principles, things that you stand for, things that you'll tolerate, things that you won't tolerate. Those things are very important to communicate beforehand. And I think I've made mistakes before, just being authentic and being the flawed human being I am, being perfectly imperfect, as I like to say, man. I've made mistakes where I think someone can read my mind, especially when it comes to relationships and things such as that, where I think like, yeah, you should treat me like that or whatever, but not gone and actually said that before, but thinking that I've said it before.
But you'd assume that they would know that.
Yeah, you assume that you know that because how you would treat yourself.
One more time they don't.
Exactly. And I can say that from a humbling point of view because I'm perfectly imperfect. I've made mistakes. I'm flawed. And that's the beauty of life and experience. We've talked about failure and things such as that and learning new things. I can say that humbly from a point of view because these are all things that you go ahead and learn. No one just teaches you a handbook when it things such as that. But when it teaches you how to, or there's another bit that's like really just I had a good moment, man, there, in terms of that. When you learn to love yourself, your taste in people changes. I think that's one thing I think grandma or someone told me that back in the day and I was like, wow, that's powerful. And it's like, think about all the times that you said yes to other people but no to yourself when you secretly wanted to say yes to yourself and no to other people. Those are the times that you didn't really love yourself. Because to love yourself is to have self-control, and to have self-control is to have self-respect for yourself. They go hand in hand with each other. And being able to say no, if you're not someone who can say no, it means that your yeses are meaningless. They hold no value. They're like bricks that can be washed away with the rain. Literally no foundation. It's so important as a man as well. Like, just like the way we're wired in our primitive brains to cultivate an attitude of intolerance as well. I think that's a big thing as well, man. For me, especially with me, like a lot of people can see me from the outside and be like, oh, he's out, he's active, he's extroverted, he's social. But I value my solitude a lot as well, man. It's something that I will take it very seriously. People will ask, oh, you're not going to this event that's been going on for time. It's like, what's going on? It's like, bro, I'm on hibernation mode. I'm on hyperbolic chamber mode. I'm on grind mode. I'm on let's spend more time with family mode. Let me skill acquisition mode, learn new things mode. Like, those things are very important, and how it goes hand in hand with boundaries is that ability to say no and be like, okay, I've been out active, I've been having fun, I've been doing that. And it's also that law 16, use absence to increase respect and honor. The reason why me and our friend group, why we love Amapiano and Chill so much as a friend group and things such as that, is because it's once a month. If it was a piano, event that was every weekend, or we would not appreciate.
It's like once every 2 months.
Well, yeah, exactly. We wouldn't appreciate it like the way we appreciate it. It's that use absence to increase respect and honor. It's that absence makes the heart grow fonder. Same thing applies to relationships and things such as that. Why do work relationships never work out when people are having work wives and things such as that? They take them seriously. I'm dead serious. We've had this conversation before. Literally, it's because they're around each other all the time. There's a sense of familiarity, and then the other person gets taken for granted. And then when things go side wrong, it's that you're seeing them every day now. There's no absence. There's nothing to miss. because it's something that someone you're exposed to every single day, man. So those are little things like that, man. So boundaries are something that are essential, but it's something that you learn to have for yourself, man, and it's something that's practiced by keeping your word to yourself and by having that ability to say no.
Yeah.
And having that ability to say no comes from knowing yourself. Aristotle said knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. So when you learn to know yourself and those little things like that, you're able to, okay, this is what I stand for, this is not what I tolerate. But yeah, that's all I got to add on that.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, I like that. I think the absence thing is an interesting one because something I explored in the past, but then I realized to me, in my map of the world, and I'm maybe very different or very like small minority when it comes to that kind of understanding. I think for me, that the absence doesn't matter to me. The reason being is like if I appreciate someone, I'm grateful. If I can see them all the time, and if I see them less, I'm still as grateful. As you know what I'm saying, like I think, like for example, if I seen you more often or if I seen you less often, I still be grateful regardless.
Of course, if you have an attitude of gratitude, I can completely agree with that attitude as well, man. It's important to have an attitude of gratitude, man. Because go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, but I think, but for people that don't maybe like value people as much, or they take people for granted, and after a while they go, oh my God, like I missed you, or you know what I'm saying. But really and truly, like they should have been taking a moment in when they would, you know, spending time together.
Be there, presence of a presence.
That's what I'm always like. If I don't see someone for a while, I'm like, it's cool, because like when I was with the people, like I was grateful, and I was taking it in the way it's meant to be. You know what I'm saying? So when I see people, it's a continuation of that already. So it's not nothing's changed in a way.
Mills is really good at that as well. Like really like appreciating people. He'll let you know that I appreciate you, bro.
Man, it's
I appreciate you.
Important.
Like I don't know if that's something you feel with him as well. But something
that's
I feel
what
like a lot with Mills, and it's like, damn, I feel loved, you know. I feel respected, and it's that mutual. That's why I always got love for you as well. Because it's like whether through good times or bad times or going through things, L's, wins. I know that guy loves me, man. I know he'll back me in the fight. I know I'll do the same thing for him or anything like that, man. So it's that mutual respect is so important, man.
Yeah, definitely.
That's true.
Is there anything else you want to touch on?
I just want to touch on the boundaries, right? That's that point, and just being that for me, my own personal boundary is, as a person, you have to be someone that gives value to the world, right? So personally speaking, I'm a person that wants to give value to my friends, and I keep people around me or friends around me where I want to give value to their lives, because sometimes what you get back from giving value is tenfold, right? So for example, I always look out for my friends in the best way that I possibly can, right? And because I know one day there'll come a time when they'll also look after me when I'm having those low moments, when I'm down in the gutter. Because that's just life. Life is a roller coaster like that. Sometimes you're winning, sometimes you're not. Sometimes the world doesn't necessarily see that, right? Because we always present ourselves in a certain picture, but we all have personal battles and tribulations. But more importantly speaking, right? If I'm not giving value to my friends, then I'm just a parasite. And I don't ever want to be a person that you just constantly extract. You know what I mean? Take, and never. You're not a friend. You're just a parasite. And I never ever want to keep people around me that are parasites. You feel me, right? People around me always give value, and I also want to always give value or add value to their lives. Those are boundaries I keep, and I'm always on the lookout like, who's always taking and never giving? We know about you now, so we now know going forward. You're gonna be less included. If we don't shout you, don't worry about it.
It's not gonna be all inclusive anymore.
You know what I mean, right? If we don't shout you, don't worry about it.
That holiday's not inclusive
There's
no more.
There's a quote that's like, givers got to have limits because takers don't.
Takers don't have any.
That's true.
It's true. And it's like, bro, I think let's let that sink in let the crowd feel that one in the song, man. And it's true, man, because I think like to give is to like, it's just that feminine empathy, intuition, man. You have to give in order to receive. That's one of the biggest life lessons I learned from just grandma growing up in Nigeria with her wise wisdom at 88 years old. Just saying, yeah, you have to give an ode to receive. And those aren't things that you see when you're young, but you see them when you're bigger and you're older and you've learned, and you'll be like, yo, how many times have you given? And then you see it pop up in another opportunity in your life, the universe sending you a blessing, whether it's like a job interview you've been waiting to get on, or just a way, it's just some certain spiritual things and align when you give. It's crazy, man. As what Milambo said, it's like that 10x value that gets sent back to you by the universe in fold. So I think it's very important to cultivate, to become someone of value. And we're all learning, we're all figuring things out, we're all... Like, no one knows everything, and I think the most confident people are the people that are comfortable saying, I don't know. I'm actually not too sure about that. Let me go look into that, or let me... Because I think confidence is talking about what you know and what you have opinions about and what you have experience in, and not being afraid to say, like, actually, I don't know, but I don't have enough knowledge about that to have an opinion on that subject. I think that's one of the biggest signs of intelligence.
And I think it's important to define what value is as well. It's not always monetary, but value could just be a friend that checks in on you, a friend that looks up for you, holds you accountable.
Emotionally intelligence.
Emotionally intelligent just does and contributes in your life in ways that improve it in some form or another.
Facts, man.
Yeah, no, definitely. Just touching on literally both of what you said, with obviously providing value to the people that are around you, right? I think it's more so in a way that we don't see it. So, touching on what you said about spiritually, like in terms of with God and stuff, like if we look at it biblically and stuff, it's when you give, it's to condition your heart. So it's a way of like keeping your heart pure, and something in the spiritual realm that we can't even sort of fathom returns to us in a way. But obviously you don't expect, you're not doing it with the intentions that I'm looking to receive something, but whether it's opportunities, whether it's through a friend that you've given value that puts you in contact with someone else that now gives you another opportunity, business opportunity or whatever. These things happen. These are real things. Like I think people need to understand that this is a real thing and that you need to take that seriously. Like it's not a joke being just someone in a group of friends that's always just the take person. Like that's not like, even that makes, for me personally, I can't, like, I find that uncomfortable to be that guy. Just I need this.
That's an unwritten rule.
That's
another unwritten rule. So that's because there's some takers out there that's not the unwritten rule. They have something different. So that's so because you're not that, you get frustrated if someone else does that. You know what I'm saying?
Can you explain one more time the difference between unwritten and written? So just in terms of like...
written is just things people don't know. Like,
okay, so written is things people don't know.
Yeah, written is things people already know about.
Okay, people already know.
So unwritten is that people got loads of unwritten rules, like loads of unwritten rules. And I think my navigation through relationships has shifted a lot. Because my thing was like, I need to be more brave to like let people know what the unwritten rules are. And I also need to like be more curious about what other people's unwritten rules are. Because that's how then you build those strong and meaningful relationships. Because when you understand each other, then there's nothing else that can get in the way. You know what I'm saying?
That's hard.
Yeah. But yeah, Mandem, we're going to have to start closing it.
No, let's wrap it up.
It's been real, man. A lot of gems been dropped.
Beautiful conversations.
Is there, so I guess I'll go back to, it was a little bit, how can I say this? This wasn't a traditional Beyond the Surface episode. Like, this is, you lot of families. It's obviously it's been like a different thing. But I will put there.
This was a catch up.
This was a catch up. This is one of those ones where like my kids are gonna be watching this. You know what I'm saying? My kids are gonna be watching this. This one's here that to be documented and put out. But in a traditional Beyond the Surface way of asking the final question is like, what is your message to the world? Like, what do you want to tell 8 billion people? I just want to see how different that would be from before.
My message to 8 billion people is find your tribe. And the world is a much better place once you find your tribe, your people that one, give value, add value to your life. And likewise, you will give value and add value to their lives. And you will experience the world in a much better way. Because it will be fun, enjoyable, and you only live once. You know, so when that experience happens, this here, yeah, it's only happening once.
Legendary.
It will never happen again. Yeah. So I'm like, this is my tribe, and how are you gonna experience the world, and how are we gonna leave an impact on the world that will be remembered when we're long gone? Tribal settings.
I'm gonna let Kev go next.
Yeah. Cool. I think I'm gonna like put it into like I'm gonna try and like paraphrase, but I think ultimately what I would say is to be a student of life, and to be always a work in progress. So that's something that's another actually line that I say to myself. But yeah, to be always a work in progress, to be a student of life, and if to sort of like tune in with like your emotions and stuff, and to also to sort of like I'll take embarrassment for example. If like an embarrassment for me is a feeling that is telling you that is somewhere you should be. Do you get what I mean? Like if I'm feeling that sort of sense of embarrassment or anxiety or whatever, then that means I need that. That's what I need to be. So yeah, I think just relentlessly sort of always learning. Yeah,
I love
in
that.
a nutshell.
I love that.
So yeah, how'd I even compete with my man over here? Man? Legends. But yeah, man, for me, I think I would say I'm gonna go for my favorite word, abundance, man. It's about having an
Abundance mindset.
abundance mentality, abundance mindset. Why is abundance one of my favorite words? It's limitless, it's plentiful, it's ever expanding. These are things that we have. All limitations are self-imposed. Like, the mind is just such a powerful thing when we put it towards something. To have that abundance mentality is to be detached from things that you don't have control over. What can we control? We can only control our thoughts, words, and actions. We can't control how other people perceive us. We can't control what other people think of us, how they react. We can influence these things, but ultimately, we can only mind our business, become a person of value, influence those people to become persons of values as well. So I think that is such an important thing. And then the number 2 thing, a message for 8 billion people, is just that family over everything. Family over everything. Keep the family close. Hashtag to that, man. It's like, understand that how limited life is. From the moment you're born, you have over 600. If you're in your 20s or 30s, I saw a photo saying that if you're in your 20s or 30s age right now, you have over 600 months to live, which is crazy when you look at it from the perspective like that. And you don't know when your day is going to be. So have that perspective that whatever you want to create and put out into the world, do that, man. And do that with unapologetic expression of yourself, man. Do that with no limitations, man. Not think about what he said or what she said or what's going on with other people, man. Do those things because ultimately we can either take the pill of discipline or we can take the pill of regret, man, because those are things that when you look back at it, have on that big view of when you're on your deathbed at 80 years old, 85 years old, or God forbid before that, you're not going to think of those opinions that held you back from doing what you wanted to do. You're going to think about all those things that you could have done that you didn't do, that you didn't take action upon. You're going to think about all those people that you didn't love, that you didn't appreciate while they're there, and all the things, that moments you came short, because the human mind has an ability to focus on the negative things in life. But when we change that duality to focusing on the positive things in life and being able to ascend to new levels, man, you can do anything you set your mind to. That's why abundance is one of my favorite words, because there are no limitations in life, man, when you know yourself and you know what you stand for, where you're going, and the kind of people you surround yourself with. But yeah, I want to give a big shout out to Leo, other people on the podcast, Milambo, Kev. It's literally such a family catch up, and congratulations on the new studio and the more episodes. I heard this is going to be episode 98, so more greatness to you and all you do, Leo. family,
Aladdin as well.
and
Shout out
shout Aladdin. You got to teach me how to grow a beard one day, yeah. But yeah, man. Shout out to the gang, them. And yeah, man. You could do anything you set your mind to, man. Peace.
No, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, this was a special one for me still. So.
Come on.
And we're gonna, obviously the conversation's gonna carry on off the camera. This ain't, you know what I'm saying? None of this is scripted. This is not like we jumped on, spoke about stuff. We talk about this all the time. But yeah, come on.
Crazy,
Also,
Tortilla.
I hope you passed record, yeah?
Also, if you lot know about, basically we got a group chat. It's called Movie Settings Limited, yeah? And I was gonna say, this is the last thing I'm gonna say before we close this episode, yeah? Till this day, you've written the best birthday message I've ever had.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I swear to God, like there's been times where like I show a couple other friends, I'll be like, listen, look at the birthday message I've got, yeah. That's it.
Your birthday month was insane.
But anyway.
I remember your birthday month was insane.
I know, I just stayed at home throughout the whole month.
Nuts.
I know, I just stayed at home throughout the whole month. Imagine that.
We can't chat about it on the poddy though. Yeah, man. Mad poddy, man. It's been a real one still.